Name is Manvi. I have come from I have my bachelor's in business administration. I was working for a little more than 3 years before coming for the fellowship, and I have been working in the development sector as well as in the for-profit space on strategy development and design research. It was a funny story because my mom forwarded a newsletter that she got on her email a couple of years ago, and at that point I felt like I was not ready, and I wanted to still work more. And then last year, like we kind of got in the conversation again. So I think my mom was like my influencer for the fellowship. So I didn't know what to expect because I was coming from a very different field, and I knew everything was going to be new for me. Um, One of my main reasons for coming for the fellowship was to also develop a different way of thinking. Everything here has been like a fresh start. So uh, I think expectations sort of even it kind of went beyond in every way. So somehow I think the online foundation term worked really well for the cohort because we were able to break the ice before coming to Bangalore. We got to know the faculty members in a better way, so we had more directed conversations, and it kind of gave us a better kickstart when we came onto the campus. So I actually liked it because it was more of like getting ready, getting prepped, so somehow it worked out for the best. And Coming here, I think it's weird in some ways in terms of how normal life became, and just being around people. Um, Got used to the wearing the mask. Sometimes don't realize it at all. So just being in an environment with people, going onto the field, and even the faculty, making sure that they are in person with us, and having classes happening like normal times. I mean, I kind of appreciate it because it was a risk for everyone, and we sort of been able to keep up with it. So yeah. They're quite like the thought leaders in terms of how urbanization is taking place in India and the global south. So there's so much to learn. They all come from like having worked in different cities, different kinds of contexts. So a lot of the class discussions are sort of directed towards not just Bangalore but cities beyond, and emerging cities in India. So there's a lot of new thought that is there within the classroom, and there's always room to sort of learn something new every day. So my interactions have sort of been very eye opening. The foundation term was a great addition to the course structure. Commons term takes a lot of time to help you get very comfortable with the kind of terminologies that are used, the kind of readings that you have to do. So there's enough time spent to get us comfortable in that kind of a space. Towards the end of it, you start to realize a change in you because for me, I realized that by the end of the commons term, so come December, I had gone through practica and I had gone through a lot of the theory that was going on. So I started to understand a lot of different aspects within urban and make certain opinions, have certain strong points, and areas that I felt more interested in. So that gave me a direction in terms of where I wanted to head. And Automatically, it sort of directed my elective choices right now. I like the course structure for the amount of time it gives all people from different backgrounds to get comfortable with the domains of urban, and then sort of puts you in a space where you chalk your own path, and make certain new goals that you have for your career going forward. So I thoroughly enjoyed it because it was taking a lot of what we did in the classroom onto the field. I haven't been in typical studio setups in an academic setting, so uh, it's interesting to see how to use certain theoretical concepts in the real world. I was previously on the field quite often because I did a lot of qualitative research, and I like user interviews and things like that. So getting back to the field was refreshing. It was and I sort of had these amazing conversations that came out of meeting people. Um, and I think one of my highlights was that I interviewed a person, a resident in Malleshwaram, and he ended up being a um, comic writer for some of the Kannada shows. So we just there were these small stories that came up, and it made the experience very surprising and eventful in some ways. Yeah. I think a lot of the fellowship, what it pushes new urbanists to do is really look at what is going to be the future of urbanization in emerging markets, and um, you realize that everything that you're doing, it's not been done before in some ways. So you can't, like, we have been going off of theories and frameworks that have been there for from the 20th century and earlier, and that's mainly come from the global north. And how do you sort of define what needs to happen in the global south is something that you are pushed towards, and that needs a lot of fresh new thinking, and for new people in the field to really innovate with their approaches. So it needs contemporary thought, and I think that's sort of the basis of how we are approaching it as well. Yeah, so I've taken the writing lab, which we just finished, and that's been useful in understanding how to do public writing, putting forth complex thoughts for a wider audience. Um, I have also taken the data skill lab that is coming up. That was more to kind of deal with different kinds of data and information out there. How do I sort of analyze it in a different way? And I've sort of had this fear of numbers for some time, and I think just because of the environment here, there is this openness to explore and experiment. So I'm kind of combating a lot of these fears. So the data skill lab is sort of helping me with that. And the final one that I took is spatial appreciation, because I feel like sketching and drawing is a little bit of a barrier at the moment for me to express my thoughts, and that will really help me to get more comfortable with different ways of thinking. I took the practice of economics in urban. I had left economics a few years ago, but it sort of helped me get in touch with the subject again, realized how relevant it is to look at the society and the current happenings that are going on. It really went into the depths of relevant theories today that can help read the budget in a better way, understand what are the fiscal policies, how does it impact the cities, and what it's going to be for the next few years. So that's one thing, and I just finished also the governing mega infrastructures elective, and that's actually a new elective, and they have been able to give us a sense of how mega projects within India are working, and why urbanization is sort of like the central theme in having these projects come up. So they have a lot of impact on how our cities are going to be and how economic development will take place in the cities. So I found it critical to sort of get an understanding of the scale at which these things are happening and their future impacts. Um, I'll be now getting into the digital labor elective that is going on. And that sort of explores the role of platform economy and how it is changing employment in cities. And in many ways, it's sort of changing the way we're looking at social security reform for workers in urban areas. And I think it has a lot of future relevance. And finally, I'll sort of end with the elective on urban risk and resilience, and I think that is mainly to get an idea of what it takes for cities to now become adaptive in a space of climate uncertainties and also like conflict. So I did attend the Urban Lens. Found a lot of the movies there absolutely amazing. They were very new ways of thinking about cities. I actually got a very interesting perspective about different cultures from all over the world, because you get a very wide view about what is going on. We also have keep having the public's events. Of course, everything's online now. Having attended some of the book readings and discussions, I think it's been helpful to get to know new writers, new sort of people in the space who I want to follow now. So a lot of my engagement online as well has changed, because I have a lot of different influencers now that I keep sort of looking into what are they up to. So in general, I think it just changes interests, and that's something that I've noticed. One of my highlights was to have like a live session with Harsh Mandar, and just getting to know how he thinks. And he actually came in. So, I mean, I was quite um, happy and excited about that entire experience, because he's a very important person to understand and understand the way he thinks. So, yeah. I would say the fellowship is great for anyone who wants to bring a new perspective to the kind of work they have been doing. Anyone who wants to switch careers, get into something that is more relevant with what is happening around them, and I think all the problems that we are learning about and trying to solve for are critical. They're urgent. So there needs to be that sort of an motivation with which you come and engage with these topics. If you have these two things, it's almost um, like this platform that you get to sort of go crazy and really explore what all you can do, and get the tools to sort of keep going with it. So it's a really good sort of nudge, as well as a platform to sort of find your next step. So